everybody, welcome to another First Chapter Friday. So this book that we're going to read today, just the first chapter, right, because that's what we do, is called Chloe in India by Kate Darnton. And this book is in our library, so you can always come out and check it out. So let's see what we've got here today. Part 1, Lost in Delhi. Chapter 1. It was so busy I didn't hear Mom come up behind me. I heard her voice before I saw her, and this was what that voice said. Chloe! Chloe! Oh no, Chloe! I froze in front of the bathroom mirror. In my left hand I was holding a clump of blonde hair away from my head. Well, hair that used to be blonde. Now it was after midnight black. In my right hand, I was holding an after midnight black permanent marker. Now what have you done? Mom groaned. This, I knew, was a rhetorical question. One of those questions grown-up ask, but you're not really supposed to answer. Besides, it was pretty obvious, no? The evidence was all there. Black marker, black hair. My mom is a watchdog journalist, which does not mean that she watches dogs and then writes about them. It means she investigates stuff. You'd think she'd be able to figure out this one by herself. Why? Oh, why? Mom wailed. Now that was a trickier question. To be honest, I hadn't given the whole thing much thought. It wasn't like I was going to color my whole head with a magic marker, but maybe if I colored just one little section right at the front, then looked in the mirror with my head tilted at just the right angle, I could see what I'd look like with all black hair. What were you thinking? Mom moaned. Here is what I was thinking. Every single one of the 98 other kids in class at 5 Premium Academy has black hair. Every single one. In fact, there is only one other girl in the whole school with blonde hair. And I've seen the girl sitting alone in the senior school stairwell picking at her split ends. I think she's from Germany, which might even be worse than being from America. I didn't want other kids to mix me up with the split-end-picking, stairwell-sitting blonde girl, so I had decided to rectify, which means fix, the situation. For the record, I am 11, but I like to use big words, mainly because I read a lot. It's the positive side effect of being new and not having any friends. Mom had her hands on her hips, eyes all googly. Her lips were clamped into a tight, thin line. It seemed like she was waiting for me to say something. So I did. Well, you're the one who brought us here, I said. It wasn't me who decided to move our whole family from Boston, Massachusetts to New Delhi, India, over the summer. My parents decided that. Well, mainly my mom. It's where the stories are, she had said by way of explanation. I was only 10 back then, and I got this picture stuck in my head. The streets of India lined with storybooks. Literally. Madeline and Eloise and Pierre, you know, the boy who always says, I don't care, were lined up like lampposts along a busy street. Elephants wandered in and out among them. That was India. That's what India would be like. Elephants and stories everywhere. Boy, was I wrong. They don't even have a decent public library here. As for elephants, we hardly ever see them. When we do, it's one sad elephant trudging down the hot highway to some fancy kid's birthday party. A mahout sits on its neck, his bony knees tucked tight between the elephant's ears. He beats the elephant with a stick. Cars and buses honk. Out of the way. You dumb elephant, out of the way. Back in Boston, we lived in a tall, narrow brick building attached to the other tall, thin brick buildings on both sides. Ours had big windows with black shutters that looked like ears. Huge maple trees lined both sides of our street. The trees were so tall, their leaves met at the top to form a canopy. In the summer, it was like living under a bright green tent. Our street in Boston was a dead end. Even though we lived smack in the middle of the city, there were hardly any cars, and we kids were allowed to play by ourselves out on the stoop. Sometimes we'd sneak white pebbles from the neighbor's Japanese garden and roll them down the steps to see how far they'd make it to into our street. Our building didn't have a yard, but that was okay because there was a city park right around the corner. with a playground and a tennis park right around the corner, with a playground and a tennis court and a hill that we would sled down in the winter. Here in Delhi, we have a park across the street too, but the playground is just a broken seesaw and a metal slide that gets you so hot you could fry an egg on it. There's the skeleton of a swing set with chains where the swings should be. The chains dangle there, swaying in the wind. Sometimes street kids tie rags to the ends to make seats, but the rag swings last only a day or two before they fall apart. As for sledding, the ground is flat as a pancake, and it never, ever snows. The movers show up to our apartment in Boston on June 13th. I remember the date because it was the day after my birthday, the day I turned 11. My mom gave them slices of my leftover cake. I watched them through a crack in the French doors. I watched them eat up all the cake, scraping the last little bits of fudge frosting from their paper plates with my plastic purple birthday spoons. Then they packed all of our stuff into brown cardboard boxes and loaded the boxes and all of our furniture into a big orange truck and drove the truck to Cape Cod, where they unloaded everything into Nana and Grandpa's basement. Mom and Dad knew we wouldn't be staying in India forever, so they thought renting furniture was a much better financial decision. Their words, not mine, then paying to cart it across the ocean. Back at our house, there was nothing left but dust bunnies and 7 enormous suitcases. That was the one part of moving. Then we all got on the airplane. Mom and Dad and Anna, who was 14, and Lucy, who was a little tiny baby, and me and the 7 suitcases. After a long time, we got off in Delhi. That was part 2. And now a different family lives in our skinny brick building in Boston. A different kid sleeps in my room while I sleep in India. Besides moving to India, here are some of the other things that I did not decide. I did not decide to be a little sister. I definitely did not decide to have a little sister. I did not decide to go to an Indian school where I would be the only kid, besides the split-end picking stairwell German girl, who was blonde. Oh, an American. I am the only kid, besides Anna, who was American. All of these things just happened to me. My mom looked at her wristwatch. 7:15. We were going to be late for school. Again. She said out a loud sigh. Let's clean you up, she said. Chapter 2. So, this book is called Chloe in India. And I've never read it, but that sounds actually pretty fun. So if you are interested in this book, this is in the library. You're more than welcome to check it out whenever you'd like, as long as it's in and I can come help you get it. So I hope you have a good rest of your Friday, and we will read one next Friday. Thanks. Bye.